This lecture will connect to the DynamoDB from within our create order lambda, and we'll create order record in the DynamoDB database table. To do that, go to the pom.xml and we need to add the DynamoDB library. So you can go to Google, search for DynamoDB Maven dependency, click on the very first link that comes back, click on the latest version and grab the dependency. Go back to Eclipse, right under the AWS dependencies, the first two, paste it so that we have all the AWS dependencies in one place. Go back to create order lambda. Once we get the order parsed into an object or deserialized into an order object, we'll start creating the DynamoDB database connection. It is very simple to do that. You simply create a DynamoDB class instance, and this guy takes a Amazon DynamoDB client instance to its constructor. So we need this type of object, the DynamoDB object, to get access to a table, as you will see in a few seconds. The client here is very simple to create. Use the Amazon DynamoDB DB client builder, the second guy there. Select it, Amazon DynamoDB client builder dot default client will create a client for us that knows how to connect to the database using the default details. Hit Control 1, assign statement to a local variable, call this DynamoDB, that's okay. The first step to insert a record into the database is to get to the table. So DynamoDB.getTable function, when we pass in a table name, it will give us the representation of the table, and this object represents the table. The table name, how do we get it? Using the environment variable system.getEnv within double quotes, whatever variable we have defined in the template.yaml. Once this resource is created, when we deploy, that name will be stored inside this orders table environment variable, and we read it here in our lambda function. Hit Control 1, assign statement to a local variable. Table is fine. On this table, we want to insert items. Table.put item will put the item. It's like our Java map, hash map. So create a new item. Once it comes back with suggestions, create the new item. That is what is required. Select that new item. Hit Control 1, assign statement to a new local variable or extract to a local variable called item, and fill that item with details. These objects will have the with methods. So the first parameter is with primary key, the primary key we want to set. The primary key is of type string and the field is ID, comma, provide the value we get from order.id field. Similarly, the second field is with string, whatever type of data we want to set. The second one is item ID, that is what we want to store into the database. So you use the value is order.item name. Similarly, the last one, let me take these to the next line so that it will be much more readable. Dot with the last one is a numerical value. So I'll use with int method. So for each data type, there is a separate with methods. We use within double quotes quantity is what I want as the key, and then the value is order.quantity. That is how we can store keys and values into the DynamoDB table item, and then we put that item into the table, and that gets saved into the database. We don't have to do anything. As soon as you say table.put, that will create a record or an item in that table. And then we can dynamically take that ID and return it back. So here within the body, we are already doing it. So we don't have to change much here. We are good to go. So in this lecture, you have added the DynamoDB library dependency to your project's pom.xml. Then you have created a DynamoDB instance pointing to the DynamoDB database. You can directly use this Amazon DynamoDB client that it returns. Instead, we have created a DynamoDB because this getTable method is available only on this DynamoDB instance. In the next lecture, when you work with read orders lambda, I will show you the difference. There is another way to use this. So the second step was to get the table. So this here, when you do this, it points to the table in the database. Whatever methods you invoke on the table will directly impact the table. And we have created an item and put that item into the table.